Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Joseph. I'm Peter.
I'm Tyler.
And this week on Middle Class Film Class Movie Review Edition, we will be discussing our first movie for the month of April's topic, spaghetti western.
That's right.
And that would be The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I sure hope this doesn't get copyrighted.
I really don't. I sincerely hope it doesn't.
If they can use it in memes, we can use it on our friggin' live stream.
Is our live stream going to get splashed in seconds now?
I mean, we're talking over it. That should be something, right?
We should just redo the music in our voice. Hard cut.
All right, cool.
All right.
I was still playing.
Wait a minute. Pause it really quick.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone. The best to ever do it in terms of spaghetti westerns. But before we get into the movie itself, little presentation about spaghetti westerns to understand exactly what spaghetti westerns, when they started, when they were most prominent.
Yeah, why do they call them that?
Spaghetti westerns are called spaghetti westerns because they were made primarily in Italy by Italian filmmakers and starred mostly an Italian cast. Or Spain was also another. They were also made in Spain at some point.
The famous Spanish disc spaghetti.
Yes.
Spaghetti.
They were also called Western all'Italiana, Italian-style Western.
What does that mean? Oh, he's just.
Just said
I don't speak Italian, so you know.
And this whole movement started in the 1960s, and it went to the late 1970s, but they were most prominent in the middle of the 60s, especially with the series that we're going to be talking about today, which was the third in the series, actually, and what's called the Man with No Name trilogy or the Dollars trilogy.
I've also heard it called the Blondie trilogy.
Is he called Blondie in all of the movies?
I don't know.
Okay. They were often filmed with low budgets and featured anti-heroes for protagonists, dastardly villains, desert landscapes, and non-traditional music scores, and plenty of violence.
It's funny they say non-traditional because now that's what I think of.
Yeah, exactly.
At the time, it was before that we had movies like The Searchers and John Wayne, and
I'll tell you, when I watched that, I thought this score sucks because I watched it after Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and I'm like, this is cheesy pie bullshit.
Mm-hmm. So some characteristics of spaghetti westerns would be anti-heroes with questionable and selfish morals. For example, doing things for money or revenge. Despicable villains that represented the worst in people. Desert landscapes, shanty towns, subversion of traditional Western tropes, which would be identifiable heroes and villains, happy endings, black and white morality, and then also a commentary on politics and relations, among others. And there's some dispute as to like what the first spaghetti Western is. Some say it's this animated parody movie of Western movies called West and Soda. Which I started watching. I watched like the first 30 minutes of it. You can watch it on YouTube, and it's pretty funny. It's like early animation.
It looks like Hanna-Barbera type animation.
Yeah, exactly, and some great visual gags in it as well. West and Soda is what that's called, and
1965.
But the true start is up for dispute. No one really knows exactly what the start of the spaghetti western, but what made it a household name was this trilogy, A Fistful of Dollars, For a Few More Dollars, and then The Good and Bad, the Ugly, which would cement Clint Eastwood as the man with no name, or Blondie. And at the time, Clint Eastwood was not a household name. He starred in a Western show called Rawhide, which is where Sergio Leone saw him. And he actually, I don't even think he wanted Clint Eastwood initially for the role of this character. But he was cheap.
Really?
Yes.
A lot of decisions that I made in life was because it was cheap. So
because of money.
Yeah.
And so that's basically the start of it. The films were shot in low budgets, like I said, making their money back even if there was not much of a box office return. And they emulated the CinemaScope look without the use of anamorphic lenses. So those like the lenses that like Tarantino uses that are like really wide frame that you can like when you watch it, you can really feel that like the sort of like the scope of it is just really the ratio of it is like narrow and wide.
The Searchers was on VistaVision. For sure. And it specifically laid it out. There was a very big title card at the beginning.
What they did instead is they would use spherical lenses but use a smaller but wider frame with 35 millimeter film strip. So it's almost like they were doing like a faux anamorphic look with these movies. And there's plenty of film grain involved in this. So it has that sort of kind of gritty look to these movies, which just adds to the Western sort of desert landscape.
Yeah.
Makes it feel a little bit more dirty. Outside of the Dallas trilogy, Sergio Leone also directed Once Upon a Time in the West and is often regarded as one of the best spaghetti westerns of all time, along with his Dallas trilogy, making him, Sergio Leone, the preeminent Italian director of spaghetti westerns.
The GOAT.
And really the only one that I know of for sure. There was another director with the same name of Sergio, but a different last name, who also put his hat in the spaghetti western genre and directed, I think, a little bit more of violent Sergio Corbucci. Some of the most violent and bleak westerns, including Django and The Great Silence, which are bona fide classics.
So can we talk about the format? Is for the rest of the month we're going to be doing these spaghetti westerns, learning together about it because I don't know nothing about them.
I don't either.
And I made the mistake of watching John Wayne movie this morning and thought, oh, this is a great spaghetti western.
Yeah,
it's like American.
If American western, yeah, the classic American western. So next week, and I'm assuming we're just going to go in rotation. Next week will be my movie, then it'll be Tyler's movie, and then the week after that will be the Patreon pick. So we need to put that call out to the Patreon so that you guys can pick your movie as a group, collective group, vote on it. We maybe pare it down to like a top 5 or something like that, however you guys want to do it. And I'm going to make the post right now while we do the show. I'll post it on Patreon and basically say, here are the movies that we're covering. The 3 of us, the 4th one's yours. So my movie is going to be The Great Silence.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so it's exactly. I looked at the list of some of the greatest spaghetti westerns. It was near the top, and I thought I've never even really heard of it. And Tyler, yours is
Hudson River Massacre. And now I don't know if it's prominent or not. I just chose it because the name sound cool. Just like if you listen on our previous episode, I chose that spaghetti western based on its name. So I'm purely going based off.
Did you find it off of a list?
Yeah.
Okay.
The YouTube playlist that was aforementioned in the streaming picks segment that we did. So yeah, I don't know if it's good or not. Could be terrible.
It is very low rated on IMDb.
Yeah. Okay.
A 4.6 on IMDb.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll go hand in hand into that journey together.
Also, not a Italian director.
What?
No.
Armando de Osorio.
He's Spanish.
Oh, okay. Well, my apologies. I'll have to look up an Italian directed spaghetti western then. It was told to me that it was.
Who told you?
The
internet did. And I did zero follow up.
It was no, it was categorized as a spaghetti western, so I just thought, like it was the correct.
But who categorized it? Is that what I'm saying?
I don't know.
It's also
you said it was on a playlist on YouTube.
Yeah, it's also set in Canada.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I mean,
brand, Tyler.
It said it was a spaghetti western.
No, let's leave it. Let's leave it.
because it's not a spaghetti western.
On IMDb, the first category says spaghetti western, action, adventure, drama, western.
Oh, okay.
Okay, well then, all right.
That's it. That's fine. It's going to be a Tyler pick. So we're going to have
It's a Tyler pick.
The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, The Great Silence, and
Hudson River
Massacre.
yeah. So those are going to be the 3 from us, and then the 4th one will be the Patreon.
Okay.
So I'm gonna make that post, start it here, and then I'll finish it before the end of the episode, and basically we'll have the rest of the month. We'll have the rest of the month to basically make that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing that I think is cool about doing it like that is when we put that call out there, I'm hoping that a bunch of people are going to say, and this is class clowns, cool ass yard duties, teachers assistants,
Anyone.
anybody who's on the Patreon.
Anybody with a pulse.
Yeah.
Anyone with a pulse
can tune in and make their recommendations. But I'm like, let's just say there's 10 options and we pare it down to 1. We pick one somehow. Well, that means the 3 of us have 9 other great options that the classmates want to listen to that maybe it could be streaming picks for us.
maybe.
Yeah. So I'm going to get that
So get to work.
going right now.
Yeah. And then kind of jumping ahead here, I wonder if I should just save this for the end of the subject about the end of spaghetti western genre, or should I just bring it up now? But by the 70s, the spaghetti westerns had fallen out of popularity, and not only were way less of them being made, but the remaining ones were lighthearted comedies.
Yeah. I've heard that there's a big comedic component that doesn't really get talked about with the spaghettis.
In the peak of making spaghetti westerns, almost more than half of Italian productions were all western movies.
Yeah.
But
Capitalized on that real quick.
Yeah. And so that's a little background on spaghetti westerns, why I want to do spaghetti westerns, because I like some modern westerns, and I know of spaghetti westerns. I know why they were called spaghetti westerns, and but I've never branched into actually watching one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So and I'm pretty sure like Good, Bad, the Ugly was like a movie, like a dad movie.
Yeah.
I feel like so. That's a good certified popcorn movie for the dad generation.
Yeah, I felt like I had a kid sleeping in the next room when I was watching it.
Maybe there was a kid. Is there a missing child anywhere?
Josie, do you want to lead us off since it's your pick? Give us your thoughts on what it was.
So yeah, Good and the Bad and Ugly, directed by Sergio Leone, written by Luciano Vincenzoni, Sergio Leone, Agenor Inroci. Starring Clint Eastwood, Eli Wallach, Lee Van Cleef. Those are the 3 main characters, the titular Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But in the movie, it's in reverse. So maybe they were like the ugly, the bad, the good.
Well, in a Spanish and Italian and French, you put the adjective before the noun.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the backwards that way.
But in this case, they're nouns.
They're
right?
all nouns.
Mm-hmm.
They're all
known
all
as
adjectives.
Tuco is ugly, Sentenza or Angel Eyes
Angel
is bad, and Blondie is the good.
Mhm.
And there's some filmmaking tropes in here that this is the early days of setting the tropes,
Yeah.
right? Where things came from.
Yeah.
And I could see that retroactively in other movies or even modern westerns, calling back to that. And especially the amount that Tarantino owes to these movies and martial arts movies is
it's immense.
Astronomical.
Yeah. Their Venn diagram is almost a circle.
Yeah. But The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, never seen it. I just know Clint Eastwood is the through line through all of these. I don't know story-wise if there's any connection between them.
I don't think so.
But it's just it's almost like an episodic stories, but just with this character through these 3 movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I should have known that this was the third one.
We didn't know.
The third
I had
one.
no idea.
I didn't know until this morning. You told me.
I know, I
probably
didn't
should have watched the
either.
first two.
I was like, damn. I guess I should have picked the first one, but I didn't know.
This is widely regarded as like the granddaddy of them all. This is like the big one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was certainly like a Western epic for sure.
yeah.
And it ends in this big like Civil War battle in the background, pretty much, and then a standoff, the classic sort of Mexican standoff. And I will say that this movie it's really good, a bit long-winded. Probably could have. It probably could have. I mean, for me, it probably could have cut like 30 minutes out because there's just a lot of like, just long shots of like someone walking or like wide shots of the scenery. But the movie has like, it just like oozes like coolness and style.
Yeah.
And it's a vibe.
It's more of a vibe.
But like the character introduction of the bad is like a really, really dark and evil introduction of a character.
Well, he's the bad.
And
It was brutal too.
yeah. And I had no idea what this movie was about.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that Blondie or the good and the ugly were in cahoots together, scamming people, taking advantage of the ugly's bounty that he has, and just ripping off towns. I didn't know that was an element of it. I thought they were just all after just this one, like this pot of gold, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, I liked it. It was definitely 3 hours.
Yeah.
It was
a lot longer than I was expecting.
but it's an epic for sure. It's an epic tale, and I enjoyed it. I don't know if I would revisit it. There's a lot of things that I did like about it, in terms of like filmmaking, and just like the way it's presented and shot, and edited. And I'm like, oh, this style Tarantino just ripped this off. Just
Yeah, really.
just like the character introductions, like the freeze frame, the good,
Yeah.
the bad. Kind of like it takes you out of it. It takes like a meta step out of it, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like it doesn't take itself that seriously.
To me, that part of it made it feel like you're watching or listening to somebody telling a story.
Yeah.
Like you're like, oh, this is a story about these three guys. And it's like when this freeze frame happens and you get the title introduction of the character, you're like, oh yeah, this is a movie. This isn't just a story that happened in historically or something.
It was funny when I was watching it. Deanna was in the room, but she wasn't watching it. And by the end of it, or towards the end of it, she's like, "So is this movie like exciting ever?"
How dare she?
Like at all?
How dare she?
Because there's a level of like boringness to it. But I wouldn't say that's necessarily a detriment, because a more modern movie, Assassination of Jesse James, could be described as a boring, slow watch. But I love that movie.
I do love that movie too.
And that's a definite like sort of definitely more of American Western. But yeah, Good and Bad Ugly, it was really good. But yeah, definitely felt that 3 hours after like towards the end. I'm like, all right, roll the credits. But yeah,
Cool. Awesome. So I'm gonna agree and disagree with you right now, because I also agree that probably could have cut about 20-30 minutes out of the movie, but I would have left in all the long shots of the people walking and took out a lot of the people talking. I preferred the cinematic, like character oozing, like the scenery chewing of the characters just glancing at each other.
Yeah,
was perfect.
Yeah,
it was great. I liked. I've talked about it on the show a lot. I like schemes in movies. I like when somebody's got a grift they're doing on somebody, and I really enjoyed that. The bit between Tuco and Blondie, where they're running this grift town to town, and he's literally putting his life on the line. He's trusting him to have the dead eye shot to cut him down. It's like that's a huge you're simultaneously trusting this person with your life and also, can't trust them. He's like trying to negotiate for a higher wage or higher cut of the grift or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get the price.
He makes a good argument. He's like, I'm the one risking my life. Like,
That's right. It's a what do they call that? Honor among thieves or a bandits.
honor among thieves.
Agreement or whatever, thieves agreement. And I really like that part of it. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect that the good guy was such a piece of shit. He's cool as hell, but like
he's not good.
they're running the grift, and you're like, if in a like a modern Hollywood movie, it would be, well, we figured out a way to do it where no one dies, and in a perfect situation, no one does have to die in it. But the first time, before you even realize they're in cahoots together, he kills those three guys that are trying to get they're trying to just get, basically, I'm going to make some money. Here's a bandit. I'm going to go here and take him into town and get my $2,000.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But
And then he's like, yeah, not on my watch.
No, yeah, he says, that's not one for you to catch. Bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang.
Yeah, he's going in, but you're not the one taking him in or something like that.
So badass.
And I loved his jacket with like the hole that went all the way through the side. His like gun sticks out the side with the slot. I'm like, that's dope. That's like a cloak or something.
Yeah.
So I definitely felt that the costume design influenced Charlie Prince, character Charlie Prince in 3:10 to Yuma, played by Ben Foster. The white double-breasted leather jacket.
Oh yeah.
Very similar vibe, although clearly not the same thing. It's not a duster like Clint's character is wearing.
Yeah.
But definitely some influence there. Definitely influence in 1994's Maverick, starring Mel Gibson. Yeah, he's running a grift the entire time, and he's a charismatic sort of guy, but just more of Riggs. He's more of the character of Riggs from Lethal Weapon in the Cowboy times in that movie, which is also
I love that comparison.
Side note, one of the single greatest cameos, a true cameo, which is just a second in Maverick. There's a bank robbery that Mel Gibson's in, and Danny Glover's the robber. And he comes in and robs a bank, and he's got a bandana over his mouth, over top bottom half of his face, and Mel Gibson pulls the thing down. He goes, "What are you doing? You can't look at my face." And he puts it back up, and then they both glance at each other, and they look away, and they look again, like, and then they just go out their separate ways. It was a fucking great cameo.
Oh, great.
Anyways, I don't think it can be understated just how influential this movie was to so many movies afterwards. So many aspects of it were like, oh, that's where this comes from. Oh, that's where this comes from. And I also didn't realize how large of a scope the movie was, because that large Civil War scene,
A lot
fight
of
scene,
extras in that.
tons of extras, and to be honest, a really good explosion.
Yeah.
That bridge was a great explosion. Fun trivia about that I'll tell later, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, so that was impressive. And then when they actually get to the cemetery at the end, you're like, well, when are they going to get there? When are they going to get there? And he's just like, I'm just going to go dig up all the graves, essentially. And he gets there, and it's like an endless sea of graves.
Yeah.
And that entire shot with the music and the singing and the wild dog running around. Yeah, and you're just like, the editing was great. The shots choices was great. It's so fucking good. And how Sergio Leone was able to do this, not speaking a lick of English. And none of the characters on the set, none of the main actors spoke Italian.
Right. Yeah.
That the guy that played Tuco and Sergio spoke in French to each other to communicate, because they both also spoke French. So it's like just the sheer like the roadblocks of production to make a very low budget movie like this, and it turned into one of the greatest non-American Western movie is so fucking cool. So yeah, I really loved it. I had a great time with it.
Yeah.
Cool.
This was my first time watching it as well. Obviously, I've seen clips of it on TikTok before. So, I really watched 3 hours of this movie on TikTok. Just kidding. I watched it normally.
That's 2 for flinching.
I really underestimated how much I would enjoy this movie. I think what I was when I heard the music the first time, you're like that, when when you think of that music, like you don't. I never really not understood. Like I never really appreciated the origin of the music because it's like in popular media and stuff, like as like being like the classical.
That's the
like, classic cowboy music. But hearing it in the original movie, like it really got me into it. Really sucked me in. I was like, okay, yeah, this is really compelling stuff right here. Like I can understand why how a lot of people would take influence from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Yeah, this definitely felt like a 3-hour movie for sure. I wouldn't say that I was waiting for it to end, but I was kind of like waiting for it to get to the finale. Like I was getting a little impatient, not in a bad way that I was getting impatient for the finale, but I'm just like, I really, out of everything that I have been seeing coming up to the final point, like I was really anticipating on how it was going to end. And I think that's what this movie for myself was successful at doing, was that it really drew you in and made you anticipate on like, how does this movie end? Not in a bad way, like you're wanting the movie to end. You want the movie to end, but you want that movie to end in a good way, if that makes sense. Like I really want to see like the conclusion of all of this. The shots were just jaw-dropping beautiful. I did not realize how beautiful this movie was going to be going into it. And funny enough, like when I put this movie on, I thought this was only going to be like, like an hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes. And then when I put it on and I saw the runtime, I was like, holy shit.
Yep.
And I thought the acting was appropriate for the theme of the movie. I wouldn't say it's like, Academy Award winning, like sort of dramatic acting, but it was.
Who do you think was the worst actor then? Who didn't meet your expectations?
Clint Eastwood, honestly.
Wow.
I didn't think he. I mean, I thought. I don't think he had. I don't think his character was developed enough for myself to.
You didn't like the part where we went like this?
Yeah, I thought
it's kind of like it's kind of like Ryan Gosling's Rolling Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man,
a few words.
Yeah, but I don't know what it was about his character. I was very much more into Angel Eyes and The Ugly. I think those were more compelling characters for me. They showed the most emotional range, and they had a lot more stakes, where Clint Eastwood is just some guy who just like takes advantage of situations and just shoots people dead for very little reason. But that's not to say that the overall aesthetic of Blondie was very captivating. I thought that he was just the picturesque like icon of what the American cowboy should look like. Get out of the way, John Wayne. Here's Clint Eastwood playing as Blondie. And yeah, I could definitely see the influences on popular culture from this movie, which I thought was really cool to see the origin of those influences. And I think in regards to Quentin Tarantino's influence of obviously this movie, because he takes a lot from this movie, I think Quentin Tarantino refined the long form Western story with The Hateful Eight. With The Hateful Eight, if everyone recalls, when it was released on Netflix, it was released in 4 parts, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I appreciated that, because I feel like if The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly was released in like a 3-part movie, like not like like this
a mini series,
like a mini series, I feel like I could suck in the story a lot better.
There's a lot of sucking in this review. It sucked me in. I could be the one doing the sucking.
Yeah. Yeah,
If it was a miniseries.
Yeah, I felt like I was sucking off Sergio.
jeez.
Anyways,
I'm your host, outrageous Tyler.
That's not going on the board. But but I feel like Quentin Tarantino realized if you're gonna have this long form like epic story, like put it in parts so that you can appreciate the story going forward. As with the good and the bad and the ugly, you're kind of like bombarded with a bunch of different plots and you kind of forget them like as the movie is going along. At least I did, like the side plots and stuff. I knew like the main goal was to get to the cemetery, but there was a bunch of different interesting side plots too, like regarding the Civil War, like the grift that they were doing in the beginning, which I thought was really, really clever. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I would revisit it again, but I think it would have to be in like a really special circumstance. Like
I have to be showing somebody.
Exactly. That's where I was gonna go with that. So yeah,
Cool.
it does credits due where credits due. It was good.
Good job, Sergio.
You know what? This Sergio Leone guy, he's all right, you know?
Yeah.
Jackson the chat saying he's actually seen this movie and he didn't like it.
That gets a whip. Hold on.
Yeah. Multiple lashings.
Yeah.
Bit too long for you?
I didn't like it though. Well, it explains it. He's Australian.
Yeah. He wants to watch The Proposition.
Yeah, The Proposition.
Yeah, you should watch Proposition, Jack. That's Australian Western.
Yeah, exactly.
He's gonna say he's seen that too, and I don't like it.
Maybe you should move out of Australia.
He did. He said I did.
Oh, you did? Did you like it?
When you covered it. Oh, well.
Did we watch it on the show or a whole episode?
Well, we
Yeah, we
waited
reviewed
with
it.
the bated breath. Jack.
I know I've watched it because at your recommendation. I couldn't remember if we did a whole episode on it though.
We did.
He likes the.
He liked it more than this.
Okay. Everyone's entitled to their wrong opinion.
He's a Guy Pearce fan though.
That's true.
Unlike Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that I would go back to watch The Proposition more than this movie.
Yeah. You know what? You're right. I think I would watch the.
Just because it's like half the length.
Half the length. Yeah.
So I would be happy if they just took out the whole part of the Civil War encampment where the ugly is like beating the shit out of the guys and everyone knows it's happening, which also felt like the bridge on a river Kwai.
You mean
Yes.
the bad?
Yes.
You mean the bad beating the ugly?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was definitely like, ooh, this is like Bridge on a River Kwai.
Which came out before
Yeah.
I believe so.
this.
Yeah, because Bridge came out in the
old-
50s.
Old Ben Kenobi getting the shit kicked out of him for the bridge.
Yeah, and then there's a scene in this movie where the bad is just watching a guy get the shit kicked out of him for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
It was funny too because the turning point was when he gouged his eyes.
yeah.
At that point, he's like, okay, I'll talk.
Yeah.
All right. Now, okay, not the eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, you punched me like twice. I'll probably talk, just to be fair.
You just like that.
Here's my social security number.
There's definitely like, in terms of like influence, how they discover about the money, the buried money in the cemetery. It kind of reminded me of No Country for Old Men, finding that just Josh
You're
Brolin
right.
finding that.
Totally right. I forgot. Then when he's and even first thing he asks from him is for water,
Yeah.
which is the same thing. I want water.
Yeah.
And he just asks, and I love that Blondie crawled over to the guy to get the secret before he died.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, get away from him. He's dead now, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, this movie kind of unlocked not a new fear, but it revitalized a fear that I've always had. Is getting stranded out in the desert.
Oh yeah.
Because there's a lot of getting stranded out in the desert in this movie. And I don't even understand how they could have survived with those little canteens of water and just being out in the sun in those long clothes. Like, I was
You're
thinking,
better off being fully clothed.
well,
in the
yeah, that's
desert.
true. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's true. But like, I was just like, when Blondie was like just like crawling in the sand and he looks like modern day Clint Eastwood, I was like thinking to myself,
You don't know what you're talking about, do you?
Fitting.
Friendo. Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, Jesus Christ, like kill me now. Like I would have just taken a bullet. Dehydration is probably the biggest fear of mine.
I like how
Dehydration?
Yeah.
Or dying of thirst?
Yeah.
not even witches.
Well, that falls into witches too. Yeah.
A witch depriving you of water.
Oh, it's even worse. I thought it was funny when, like, for one thing, like, why be an asshole about it if he's gonna split the money with him? Like he at the beginning, the first part, he gives him his cut of the money when they go their separate ways.
Yeah.
Blondie and Tuco.
When he ends their contract,
ends their
their relationship.
It's like, why be a dick about it? You just give him the money and part your separate ways. You don't want to leave him 70 miles from town.
I know. I thought that was a little cruel.
Again, our hero. He's our hero.
That's what's about these movies. Is like you're not supposed to like necessarily root for any of these people.
Yeah.
Don't call him the good then. It's in the title. It's fucking under his face. The good. I'm the good guy.
I would say comparatively.
Sure. The good comparatively. On a scale, man.
Sliding scale.
I just thought it was really cool. He's like, it's only about 70 miles away. I remember I was sitting at my desk. I was like, 70 miles away? Like, do you understand he's out in the middle of the desert?
And then that entire sequence when Tuco gets his revenge on him and he's dragging him through the desert and he's basically giving him water, but he's soaked his feet in it. He's like stinky feet in it or whatever. It's in his hat. He's got him the boot to drink out of. You're like, fuck, would you do it?
Yeah, if you're dying of thirst, you're gonna have to drink anything.
Yeah. He seemed like he was like paralyzed at that point. Like he couldn't do anything.
Yeah, I thought about that. I probably would have taken my shirt off and soaked my shirt in the water, then wrung it into my mouth. Because then it's got more my stink on it than his stink.
That's too much work. I would just been like,
You'd have been just sucking his. I mean, the boot.
It's for survival. It's for people drink their own urine.
You don't even have urine at that point. Just dust comes out.
Hey, nothing. Nothing to piss.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think that they really depicted dehydration well in the desert in this movie because you're weak and like especially so.
Headache.
I will give. Yeah, you have a headache. I'll give Clint Eastwood this on his performance is that in that first like quarter of the movie where he's being dragged through the desert and he's just like basically crawling, looking like his modern self right now. Like he definitely looks like he's dying of dehydration.
Jack.
It's the motherfucking MCFC podcast.
Australian Jack. He says his favorite countries or his favorite westerns are
His favorite countries.
No Country for Old Men, Django, Bone Tomahawk, and Damsel with Robert Pattinson. I've never seen Damsel.
Cool.
It's lowly rated, 5.5 IMDb, 2018.
Interesting. No Tombstone?
Yeah.
No Tombstone?
I know.
Come on.
Right after Val Kilmer died, you can't even say Tombstone.
I know. Come on.
Yeah, all post 9/11.
Post 9/11.
Not seen Tombstone.
We haven't. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. What was I gonna say? We did. It is worth mentioning though that all these movies are pre 9/11.
Okay.
Yes.
These spaghetti westerns.
Were the towers even up at that point?
I think they were being built.
I doubt that.
They were probably
The towers were down in a different way.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ. I do agree though that the Civil War camp like sequence of events could have been
1973.
Oh,
okay, so
1973.
yeah, all right. Well, they were in planning. I do think the Civil War camp sequence of events could have been cut down. Although I think that it was. They
just got roped into it somehow.
Well, they were. It was another hilarious turn when they're pretending to be
the Confederate soldiers.
Union forces. And
Yeah, because they were
No, they were pretending to be Confederate forces, and then they see the cavalry come in
you're
the
right.
foreground.
You're right.
And they looked like
because they're covered in white dust.
Dust.
And they look like they're
And then
gray.
and then they
blue.
have that awesome shot where he
Hey,
just like,
come over here. Hey, we're part of you. We hate the slaves.
they were Confederates, and they were saying, "Yeah, praise to and then he
General Lee.
and then he goes to Blondie. He's like, "What's the general's name again?"
Yeah.
Lee. Yeah, praise to General Lee or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, yeah, we
Love that. That
we
was
have
funny.
more slaves for everybody. And then they roll up and they're actually
That was a good visual.
I know, great gag because it did. It looked like it from afar.
Yeah.
They had that dust.
Yeah.
They're covered in the ash of their enemy.
I think, but I mean,
Very War of the Worlds style.
Yeah.
I mean,
Steven
but
Spielberg.
speaking upon the Civil War aspect of it all, I think it definitely adds a little bit of oomph to the pretty simple story that's being told with the ugly and the good, is because like at the core part of the movie, the story is really just cut and dry, but you add the societal turmoil into the mix. It kind of mixes it up. But I feel like what could have been improved upon is make it a little bit more important to their journey. It's more so kind of like a spectacle rather, at least for myself, it's more of a spectacle and like filler rather than something that actually is impactful to the characters. It's just sort of like kind of
It's a side quest.
Exactly. It's kind of like a trip in the sidewalk. Like you're like, "Oop," but it's not.
It's an interesting analogy. I thought it was the Civil War aspect of it. It just like kind of put it into perspective as to like what was happening at the time that this was taking place, because there are things that in history that like happened in one part of the world that something else that you wouldn't think happened a long time ago is happening at the same time.
Yeah.
Like Shakespeare being alive while America was being colonized.
Yeah.
Like that's in my brain, without knowing that, I was like, I feel like he existed so long before that, but America was being founded essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
another
crazy thing to put into perspective.
Another one that I seen floating around is that the samurai were officially abolished as a caste in Japanese society during the Meiji Restoration, 1867. The first ever fax machine was invented in 1843, and Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in 1865. So there's a 22-year window where a samurai could have sent a fax to Abraham Lincoln.
That's awesome.
Abraham Lincoln, don't go to the theater.
Beep, 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 beep. Oh, wait, that's Morse code. Sorry, that's a whip worthy.
Could you imagine like samurais like being a part of the Civil War, just slashing down Confederates?
That'd be sick. That's basically the plot of Wolverine Origins or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Him.
Who do you think? What side would they be on?
The samurai?
Yeah,
Oh, definitely the South.
the South.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Japanese.
They're all about
the Japanese
purity of the race.
The Japanese were very fascist in the past, not now.
Thanks for clarifying that, Tyler.
Yeah. But speaking of about the bridge, you had a little trivia that I read up on too. But it's kind of a funny, kind of tragic event that they had to go through.
Tragic?
Yeah. So.
Oh my god.
So.
No, not that tragic. But for the filmmaking, it was tragic.
Yeah, it was. The film was shot mainly in the Spanish desert, and they used the actual Spanish army, about 1,500 Spanish soldiers essentially.
Jesus.
So the Spanish army captain that was in charge was Sergio Leone. Gave him basically the honor to blow the fuse.
Nice.
As a sign of gratitude for their army's collaboration with the movie. Mm-hmm. So they agreed to blow the bridge up, and when Leone gave the signal "Vide," which is go, over the walkie-talkie, unfortunately, another crew member spoke on the same channel saying the words "Vide, Vide," which means it's okay to proceed, to a second crew member, like he wasn't talking to them.
Oh.
So, much like Tropic Thunder, the captain heard the signal, thought it was for him, blew up the bridge when no cameras were running. Sergio Leone was so upset that he fired the crewman on the walkie-talkie immediately, who just basically left in tears in his car, fled the set. The captain was so sad for what happened, but he basically said, well, my army will rebuild the bridge for you guys so we can blow it up again, but on one condition, you have to rehire that crew member. It was a mistake.
Aww,
and he rehired him. I know, he rehired him. All was forgiven. The army rebuilt the bridge, and then they blew it up again.
So no one died?
Nope.
No.
You say tragic, I'm just like thinking, oh my god, like
tragic from a production standpoint.
Yeah,
it's not a Rod Serling situation.
Yeah, but I mean, you have.
I wonder what happened,
or whatever that guy's name is from
or how long it took him to rebuild it.
The Twilight movie.
With the helicopter.
Oh, that's
tragic.
That is really sad. Really.
Some other interesting trivia here. Clint Eastwood wore the same poncho through all three movies. No washing.
Oh,
Yeah, he went Michael Jordan boxer style.
yeah, he pulled a Tyler.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Eli Wallach was almost killed, poisoned on set when he drank acid on accident.
Ew.
They had acid on set to burn the bags that had the gold coins in them, so it would make them weak and they could rip through them easier.
Yeah.
Break it down and cut it down. Someone poured acid into a lemon soda bottle for some reason, and he drank it. So afterwards, he chugged a bunch of milk and still did the scene full of sores in his mouth. Yes.
I can relate. I had.
You drank acid before?
No, it wasn't acid. It was vinegar.
Oh.
Well,
It's still acidic in nature.
as a kid, for some goddamn reason, I was drinking a soda. I did it to myself. I was drinking a soda, like a soda can, and I finished it, and then for some stupid reason, there was a bottle, it was like a spray bottle of vinegar, and I just like squirted it into the can. Forgot that I did that, and then when you have when drinking soda and you go to like shake it to see if there's any left, and then I did that, shook it, heard that there was something in there, and I just
drank it.
I just drank it, just straight up vinegar. Not as damaging as acid.
No.
So you didn't. Okay.
Well, the worst thing I've ever done with a soda can to myself.
Oh.
We used to go on the Delta a lot on the boat. My parents split the cost of a ski boat with my aunt and uncle. And so we go skiing, tubing and stuff. My parents would slalom. That's the one ski type of skiing. And we'd always bring the same sort of snacks. It was grapes, sodas, and beers for the adults. And I was popping grapes into the soda can, and my thumb went into the soda. I was really little, and it was stuck. So I'm like twisting it, trying to get it out.
Okay.
Unknowingly slicing the shit out of my thumb. And I knew I was hurting, but I didn't realize just how bad I was until I pulled it out, and it's like sliced all the way across my entire thumb. And I was like, I'm going to get in trouble if I show my parents this. So I just hit it.
Well,
basically.
I mean, so you drank vinegar, you sliced your hand. Well, I drank piss out of a soda can before.
Really?
Yeah.
Why was there piss in the soda can?
You pissed in it.
I actually replaced soda can with beer can. Yeah. This was. Yeah. Yeah, so I pissed in a beer can, and then.
Why?
Because I didn't want to go to the bathroom.
Where were you?
In my bedroom.
You pissed in a can in your bedroom instead of getting up?
Yeah.
You made a dirty water in your bedroom.
I did. Yeah.
He had a piss drawer.
How do you feel about that?
Well,
Proud?
Of course I don't feel proud. I can't even believe I'm even putting this out on the air.
It's a shame. Damn, that life looks good.
Of course I feel ashamed of it. Of course I did. So yeah, no, I pissed in a beer can, and then I took a nap after drinking said beer, and then I woke up and I was like, oh, I still have, like, I shook the can like Joseph did with the vinegar. I shook it, and I was like, oh wow, I thought I drank all this. And then I was like,
And then you drank the beer again through the piss.
Yeah, exactly.
and yeah.
Welcome to Ultra Hell.
I don't even know how we even got. Oh yeah, because of the acid. Yeah.
So this bit again.
There's no bit. Yeah, so that was pretty bad, and I'm ashamed, and I'm embarrassed. But I'd like to, I mean,
come clean.
show and tell.
Hey, that's the first. Yeah, that's the first part in growth is admitting. Hey, you're here. You're pissing in a can. A couple more trivia things. So there's the bit when Tuco has the guy who's sneaking up on him. He's in the bubble bath, and he shoots him. He's got the gun in the bubble bath. Great gag, by the way.
Yeah.
And he says, "When you have to shoot. Don't talk."
I love that line. I love that line.
Improvised by Eli Wallach right there.
God damn, that's a genius.
Yeah, great line.
Improv.
Yeah, exactly. 100% improv. Ennio Morricone's iconic theme music was designed to mimic the sounds of a howling coyote. That's what he says. Originally, Morricone didn't want to use the trumpet, but Leone insisted. Along with electric and acoustic guitars and the Tarzan yell, the trumpet became the most distinctive part of the entire soundtrack.
Wow.
Let's see what else. Clint Eastwood refused to turn up for work at the beginning of the shot until the writer-director Sergio Leone agreed to pay his $250,000 fee in addition to a brand new Ferrari.
Wow.
What an asshole. Jesus Christ.
And the actual
a Ferrari, really?
The actual price of the movie, the budget, $1.6 million. And in 1966, that would equate to about $16 million today.
Wow.
Yeah, so still a relatively modest budget, but that was considered big back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for a 3-hour movie, you're basically making 2 movies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's.
Are all the
That's a
the
steal.
other 2 movies also 3 hours long?
I don't know. Let's look it up.
I mean, if it matches the quality of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, like I wouldn't mind that.
It sounds like they had no stuntmen on this because Eli Wallach cheated death in addition to the train scene, also in the first scene where he's riding away on a horse with his hands tied behind his back.
Dude. There's so this movie and as well the John Wayne one I watched. There's a number of times where I'm like, that horse, they killed that horse for this. They probably killed the horse.
They
And
traumatize horses in this movie for sure.
And the people who are getting like shot off the horses and just falling or getting drugged behind the horse, you're like, fuck.
That hurts.
In 1956, there's no
Yeah.
way there was like CG or
Yeah.
any of that stuff.
There's no way. They were just getting.
They did not have that technology,
No.
the stunt technology that they have
And
now.
I do. There is a scene I wanted to point out. It's in the beginning of the movie where Ugly is chasing after the horse that Blondie's riding away, and he jumps up on the horse as it's going like nearly full speed.
Mm-hmm.
That was impressive because I knew that there wasn't any sort of camera magic going on. Like that man literally jumped up on a moving horse.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
So the first one, A Fistful of Dollars, hour 39 minutes for a few dollars more, 212, and Good, Bad, and the Ugly,
that first one,
258.
I'm like excited to watch it now because it's only an hour and a half.
Yeah, they went up every 40 minutes every movie.
It's the third movie. It's got to be 3 hours. Second movie, 2 hours. First movie, 1 hour.
Fistful of Dollars. I'm looking at like the little trailer here, and it's like on IMDb.
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of these shots before, and I'll say that there's a lot of shots from this and from other, not specifically spaghetti westerns,
Mhm.
but westerns of the era, 50s and 60s westerns that are direct pull from Kurosawa movies.
Yeah.
So it's Italian filmmakers copying a Japanese filmmaker, mimicking an American film style to give you something completely different.
I think that's pretty.
So it's
pretty dope.
That's
So it's
pretty good.
American westerns copying Japanese, or is it
I think it was
It's
both.
Italian copying
It
Japanese?
was both. I
Yeah,
think
both.
I think it was both. So it's like the American film, like The Magnificent Seven, was also in like I think mid '60s as well, before all the spaghetti stuff came out.
Mhm.
I think it's like kind of there's a timeline overlaps there, obviously, but
Yeah.
I know The Magnificent Seven was just a ripoff of Seven Samurai, and I don't know about shot composition, but I'm sure there was a number of that kind of borrowed from there. But you watch Yojimbo and Sanjuro, really hard to ignore that shot composition of even the duel in the street. You know, that like the good guy at the very end and the bad guy here in the foreground. You just see their feet on the foreground, and you see the guy small way off in the distance, and it's a long row of buildings on the side.
Yeah.
That's from Yojimbo.
Oh.
And it's like that shot, you're like, oh fuck, that's like 1955 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they are copying it for still to this day.
Yeah.
70 years later, they're still using that same shot. It's like when Akira did this motorcycle slide thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now everybody does. That's how you stop
No.
a cool way to stop a motorcycle.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Rango?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we reviewed it.
We reviewed it.
Oh, we did?
Fucking show.
We did.
Yes.
Oh, well, I was thinking. I can't believe I forgot.
I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why you watched it.
No, I watched it before we did it on the show, which I already.
But you didn't remember we did it on the show.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I forgot. We've been doing this show for like almost 5 years. Come on, give me a break.
There's only so many.
I was thinking like how the snake in Rango is just so reminiscent of Angel Eyes, like just really like he looks like a snake.
He's
Just
got the
like
little mustache too.
like with the eyes. Like I don't even know if they did anything to his like
Lee
face
Van Cleef.
to do like for his face to.
You're talking about Lee Van Cleef?
Yes. I don't even know what they did to his face to make him look menacing.
It's
Or
just his face.
well, he's a menacing looking
It's
man.
called acting.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's got RMF, resting menace face.
Well, it's just like it felt like his eyes were just like glowing. It was really impressive. I thought they did something with his face to
They
make
put a
it.
light on it, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
Makeup. perhaps.
Maybe. I don't know. I just thought he really looked bad. He looked like the bad. But he wasn't even really the bad in a real sense. He was a captain or a colonel in the Union.
Mm-hmm.
So he was fighting against the ownership of slaves. So I mean, that's not that bad.
He murdered a man and his child, and right, he murdered his man and his child, like right in his introduction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. Yeah, I take that back.
Because he's like, he says, "I always complete the job after I get paid. I always complete the job."
Yep.
And then he kills the old man who gave him the job.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Because he took the second job.
Yeah, he took the second job.
That's
I thought
his night
that was
shift
cool.
job.
Yeah, I thought that was
Also, a very brutal way, like uncut shot, just him blowing him way through the pillow.
Yeah,
He actually killed him too.
Yeah, like, that's dope.
yeah.
Used a real gun,
Yeah, real gun, real guy.
real bullets.
Pulled a Baldwin.
Oh no! You beat me to it. Damn it.
Clint Eastwood did not smoke, and he hated smoking cigars, but Sergio Leone had him take multiple takes, which pissed him off. According to Eli Wallach, Clint Eastwood would sometimes tell Leone, "You better get it right this time because I'm gonna go throw up."
I thought he did like smoking. That's so surprising.
No.
Yeah, Sergio Leone and Clint Eastwood ended their relationship after this movie. They did not like each other very much.
I'm sick and tired of smoking your cigars, Leone.
It was mainly Clint Eastwood getting tired of Sergio Leone and his neat perfectionism.
Oh, he's like a Fincher.
And they had a lot of he had a lot of animosity towards Sergio because of it. I mean, he's done 3 movies now with him. And they were planning on doing another movie much later, or Sergio wanted to do another movie with him much later in his life, but he died.
Yeah. Oh, that was Once Upon a Time in the West, right?
I think.
Yeah, I read that same bit, and that Charles Bronson essentially plays a Clint Eastwood type in that movie.
Mm.
And I streaming picked that a while ago. It's really fantastic.
Okay.
I don't know if I would consider that spaghetti because it was an American production. Even though Leone directed it, it's slightly different. And what's our time like? What are we running on right now?
We're
A little over an hour.
Yeah.
All right. I'm not going to go into it. I have some other interesting kind of distinctions between spaghetti westerns, modern westerns, and then postmodern. There's classical, postmodern, and modernist and revisionist westerns.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a weird kind of, like, most people just consider it spaghetti and then like American classic.
Okay.
But then there's everything that came after that, which flips it all on its head. But we can get into that next week because that's going to take some time.
Okay.
We'll continue this lesson later.
Yeah. And then going back to Tarantino, he kind of like does this sort of this sort of completes a cycle in a way. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, he has a character, Rick Dalton,
Mhm.
who goes and makes spaghetti westerns.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's sort of like the Clint Eastwood character in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was I'm excited to go back and watch the other 2. I guess
Yeah.
I'll go back. I'm not gonna watch them backwards. I guess it doesn't really matter though.
At this point,
I
I'm
think-
going to watch them 1 and 2 after this.
Yeah. But yeah. So that was anything else?
No, I gave it an A.
Oh, okay.
Well, no,
I guess
I don't want it to like we don't have to take much time for it or whatever. But it's a fucking A, easy A.
Easy A.
all right. Let's do grades now.
Okay, A.
A.
Okay. A. Caught me off guard with that one.
Yeah.
We're still doing the formality of the grades.
We don't have to. Whatever you want.
Well, I mean, I think we could all agree it's an A movie. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty.
It's
much
more
a-
just the structure of the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
Once
now.
we get to the Hudson Ridge from Massacre, it'll be all D's.
All right. Well,
Actually, I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, that's it.
the good.
Oh yeah, I forgot
the
we don't
bad,
have
yeah.
a wheel to spin now, so we don't have much else to do. I can play the intro music again. How about that? Actually, that's this one.
Well, Pete, you can remind us what is the movie that we are going to be watching next.
So yeah,
week.
so that was my movie, and we're gonna go in a sort of circle manner, I guess, clockwise. Pete, since you're sitting on the where would be going, which movie are we gonna be reviewing for next week?
Next movie is going to be The Great Silence. Great Silence from 1968.
Is this a third in a series?
I don't think so.
Okay.
And its original title, Il Grande Silencio. Who knows what that means? It's, let's see here, the synopsis.
20 silence. Large silence.
Venti silence. A mute gunslinger fights in the defense of a group of outlaws and a vengeful young widow against a group of ruthless bounty hunters. Interesting. It looks like snowy, so maybe this is where some Hateful Eight came in.
A mute?
Mute, he's mute.
Main character's mute?
Yeah, Jean-Louis Trintignant
Real Valhalla.
plays Silence.
Real Valhalla Rising.
Klaus Kinski plays Loco, which means the tiger.
He's going to be crazy.
Frank Wolf plays Sheriff Burnett. Luigi Pestilli plays Polycut. Bonetta McGee is Pauline. Mario Brega as Martin.
Hey, Luigi Pistilli was in this movie, Good, Bad, and Ugly.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he played the priest, or the pastor, or whatever.
Oh,
that guy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, it makes sense because when that scene happened, I was like, "There's no way that guy speaks English. They're heavy dubbing this."
The words didn't even match.
No, there's a lot of that ADR on there. So
Yeah.
but Klaus Kinski in this that's kind of interesting. That's exciting to me.
Tigrero.
Yeah, let's see who directed this. This is directed by Sergio Corbucci.
The other Sergio.
Sweet.
The more violent Sergio.
Supposedly, yeah, both of the Sergios were very violent in comparison to the Americans. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out if it holds up to the bloody reputation.
Sweet.
All right. Anything else you guys want to cover?
No.
No? Okay. I'll just remind the Patreon one more time. I just made the post in there a couple minutes ago. Put your suggestions for the fourth movie that we're going to cover into that Patreon post.
Mm-hmm.
And if you see someone else, Joel or Heather or somebody post in there and said, "This is what I want to," if you think, "Oh, that's a great one," comment on it, upvote it, like it, whatever. We'll have a discussion, over the next week or two or so, and then after Tyler's movie review, Hudson River Massacre, we'll make a decision on which one we're going to cover, the fourth one. So get involved. We want to hear from the class.
Yes.
And then if we don't hear anything, then...
There's already a couple of comments in there.
Okay, cool.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So,
Woo!
So anyways, and speaking of the Patreon, thank you to our cool ass Yardy dudes. Those are our highest level Patreon members. That is Michael, Heather, Steven, Javier, and Chris. If you want to support us on the Patreon, you can do so. Patreon.com/middleclassfilmclass, or just go on the YouTube page, watch us there. We are monetized now and living the big life.
Yes.
I think our revenue stream is almost to $10 at this
Nice.
point.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and 5 of that comes from Angry Otter's $5 donation. So
We got like $60 from Uncle Trip.
yeah, that's
one
true.
time.
You're right there. We do have Uncle Trip's donation.
Yeah.
So we got to we can't,
Executive producer, Uncle Trip.
we can't even get to the money. Like we can't even withdraw it until it gets to $100, which is so funny.
They're holding our money hostage.
I know, like the fucking government.
You're like, well, you got to get, up to $100. You got to be good.
We want our money.
I like that.
Yeah.
I lead up.
So until next time. Thank you for joining us as we review the granddaddy of all spaghetti western movies, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Next week, we're going to dive in a little bit more, learn more about the genre or subgenre, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to watch 1968's The Great Silence, starring Klaus Kinski. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And please follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class.
And follow us on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
All right, guys, it's been fun. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.
I felt like I was sucking off Sergio.
Class dismissed.
I gotta get out of here.
The bell doesn't dismiss you. I dismiss you.
You're free to go.
See you next week.
See you later.
See you later.
That's a wrap.
Great show.